Hello, everyone. We have another episode of the Des Moines Metro Numbers, the language of real estate here on our Team IRG YouTube channel. My name is Junior Ibarra with Team IRG, and we also have alongside me a couple other highly talented individuals. Up next, we have
I'll go. Ryan Coy, I am the Director of Operations for Team IRG, and
I'm Anthony Simon. I am one of the real estate agents on the team with Team IRG.
heck yeah, Anthony, take it away.
All right, so we're just going to dive right into the numbers. So this is looking at April, kind of looking at April numbers. Median sale price ticked up a little bit from right around 300,000 to 306. Again, having a little bit of this uptick. The slope of this line is following what we normally see this time of year. So pricing seems to have calmed down and starting to follow the natural trend of just kind of our normal cycle here in Des Moines.
yeah, not going down by any means. Looks
Not
like.
Well,
going down.
yeah, well, and if you just look at the gaps between the years, right? 2023 and especially, 2021 and 2020 and years prior, like look at how that jump and now it has slowed down, right? Like those gaps aren't as huge, but just naturally overall pricing is still going up here for the Des Moines Metro. So biggest thing is, man, always pay attention to hyper local. Like, ignore the noise when it comes to the social media and what's happening outside of our own metro market because it's not relevant.
Yeah, I mean everything is hyper local, and again a reminder for this. This is looking at single family housing in just kind of the metro core. So what most people would consider just the Des Moines metro. It's a 14.5 mile radius from what is roughly the geographic center. So again, just kind of the metro core, just single family residential housing.
Essentially everything touching Des Moines. So that includes the suburbs like Ankeny, Grimes, Waukee, that kind of stuff. But it's not going all the way out to like Adel, for example, or Perry and stuff like that.
Correct, because then DMAR pulls. We can have stuff listed. I mean, honestly, halfway across Iowa. I don't really care about that area. I want to focus on Des Moines. So that's kind of what we're looking at. And yeah, we're seeing pricing holding pretty steady. Um, yeah, days on market, no surprise. We've kind of gone down. We're kind of where we were roughly for 2021. We haven't quite hit the craziness that was last year, the year prior. And hopefully we won't. Hopefully we'll stay right at that four and not two or one. But yeah, things are definitely picking up just kind of as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, still 4 days on market. I
It's
mean, we're
pretty
seeing
quick still.
yeah, that's we're multiple offers, right? Like your more balanced market is kind of in that 3 to 6 month realm, right? Average days on market, which we haven't seen in a while. Like the last time we saw close to essentially like 3 months on market, which is the 90-day marker, it looks like 2018, right? So yeah, so things are still moving relatively quickly. Good for sellers, for buyers, just be cognizant that when you're out there working with real estate professionals, like you may run into, and you'll get to see more of this on the next slide, into multiple offer situations. Yet the opportunities are still there. It's not zero or like it was essentially
Yeah,
the last couple of years. So there's opportunities to make moves, and as long as, again, this is where a real estate advisor or professional can help you win that deal, just depending on your strategy and your goals of how quick you want to turn around and get into your new home, depending on your goals overall.
And these, again, this isn't every house. This is median days on market.
Hmm.
Um, And again, I like median because it kind of ignores some of these outliers. I mean, there are some houses that are sitting longer. There are some that are selling same day. But just this is kind of looking at it by price point. So kind of by roughly $50,000, $100,000 price gaps, just depending on where it's at. Um, basically anything under about $500,000 is selling in about a week or less on
Oh,
average. Um, or just in general. So that means again, there are some outliers out there, but most things are selling in under a week. And the kind of the lower we get, very typically, the faster it's going. That $0 to $100,000 mark and we've had it recently where we thrown something out there and we had a ton of showings, and we just pushed it out a week and said, hey, we're going to review offers in a week. So things under 100,000 are likely in that scenario where they're letting all these investors or whoever come in and look at the house, and then have, submitting and writing tons of offers. But most houses that people are going to take as is and are going to move directly into are kind of in that 2 to 4 day range right now.
Yeah, and again, this is pricing it within market, right? Because we have seen the market will let you know really quickly just by looking at these numbers whether you're priced within market or not, right? Because if you still try to shoot for the moon, right, you may your house won't sell in this in this level of days on market, right? So you'll get a lot of showings potentially, yet it won't sell compared to the competition that prices within market range, right? So still be very cognizant of what it is and know that, there's still a strategy around where to price things at, and where you don't get stuck with a house that if like unfortunately even there may not be anything wrong with the house, yet if the public sees that, oh man, this thing's been on the market for 30 days, right? Again, there may not be anything wrong with the house, yet now you're fighting a psychological game because the consumer is now thinking, what's wrong with it, even though there may not be anything wrong with it, and they try to lowball you or do things of that nature. So that's where it's good to look at all strategies depending on your timeline of where you want to get to.
Yep. Looking at number of houses sold. So April's we were at 612. So actually a few less sold than we saw in March. This is kind of where we're pushing a little bit against the normal trend, kind of the normal seasonal trend of Des Moines. Normally we continue to see it accelerate through, about June, July, and then the market starts to cool off a little bit. We've seemed to have hit, at least for this last 2 months, just a plateau of the number of houses that are selling out there. And looking at the year-to-date total, we are about 80% of the last kind of 5-year average for number of houses sold. So still less than what we've seen, but things are, 80% when things are kind of a little bit hectic is still pretty solid movement.
Yeah, and would you say, Anthony or Ryan, a large reasoning for this is literally the lack of inventory is one of the issues? Or what are you
Yeah,
seeing out there?
there's not as many there, right? Right?
Yeah.
If there was there, it'd probably sell more, right? So
And that's what we'll look at the next few slides. Yeah, I think basically the houses that are getting listed are selling. They're selling in a couple of days. There's just nothing. There's nothing more to buy. As I think right now our big restriction is even last year in the spring we had inventory and we just ate through it all, and now there's just nothing left and it hasn't recovered yet. So we're still seeing we're likely I think going to see this number fall way under what is normal for the kind of the remainder of the year, just because there's unless we see a huge uptick in listings, but there's just nothing out there.
Again, even though, and like Anthony said, even though like we're 80% of year to date number of houses sold, I have heard just through our networking groups and other markets where they're 30, some 40% and less units sold. So 20% isn't a huge drop. And as you can tell, as you saw earlier, the average price point here in the Des Moines Metro is still going up. So transactions are still happening, and there's still movement. It is just a little bit tougher sometimes depending on the price point and location you're looking into as to, finding that house.
So again, just kind of showing number of houses sold per price bracket. To no surprise, we're kind of in that $200,000 to $300,000 range is kind of making up the bulk of everything. And it kind of tapers off as we increase in price. There's less houses being sold as we kind of continue up.
So Anthony, I'm just giving it a quick like visual here, but like and you probably already have this because you're so organized. So like below 400,000, it looks like maybe makes up about 80%, just or did you do this by any chance, or do we need to do the math?
So I actually did run that random statistic. I just didn't want to throw it on the screen, but yeah,
Oh, cool.
400 and under is making up 86% of the transactions.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
Wow.
so
400
I
and
mean,
under is making up 86%. So everything above that only is 14% of the market.
yep, and that's kind of where, speaking from experience, having a listing that was priced just above 400,000 didn't get a lot of attention until we were under that 400,000 mark, and that's again putting it into that where people tend are look obviously buying right now, and then it got a ton more attention, and we are thankfully under contract.
Awesome. Congratulations. Yeah, this is huge. I mean, this tells you where all the activity is happening. And again, this is opportunity too. For those investors, those builders, that want to build in these price points. And we're very, very blessed. We're starting to partner up with more builders, small, medium-sized builders, and even we hopefully landing a pretty good large builder here soon. And because of this, we're providing education here and moving. Our team is doing really, really well overall. So yet, for all of you who are investors and builders out there, maybe watching this video, is if you can go out there and finish a product to completion 100% as quick as possible, you can see where all the activity is happening.
Right. I mean, even on new construction side, I think we saw a lot of stuff get pushed kind of under that $400,000 mark because I think above that it just they weren't moving as quick.
And just the affordability now is obviously
Yeah.
way different than it was last year, right? So we really
Yep.
need those under $400,000 houses to be able to afford them. So
Yeah, I mean, interest rates are quite literally double, I think, what they were at least last April. I don't know about May because I think May is when it
May
really
is
did
when we
start
kind of,
jumping.
yeah.
So new listings, again, saw the little bit of an uptick, still continuing, but not what we need to kind of backfill this inventory. Um, Trending upward, just not as quick as I'd like, which again is holding pricing steady. Or right now, because of the spring and kind of in the summer market, we're seeing average pricing kind of push up.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to see it go up go at least uptick a little bit, so hopefully that'll help a little bit. Yet, man, we're still like it looks like, what was it? So
Oh,
2021.
I didn't change that. Yeah.
That's okay.
So light
2021
blue.
is 2022 is light blue, right? And so
Yep.
yellow is 2021. In 2021, we were close almost to 1450, right? So yeah, so inventory, obviously new listings is the name of the game here, the trend that we need more of.
So the big one, active listings. This is the
Holy
biggest
cow.
outlier we've still had. Um, we've had more sales than we've had new listings come in the market. So we're continuing to fall off ever so slightly on inventory, down to 1444 for April. And that's continued to push this number again kind of upward. Is 68% of that is new construction, where in March it was
Wow.
65%. So we're creeping further and further into. I think there are people. I mean, I think builders are doing more right now because they can right now with the weather. But there's also just less resale stuff coming on the market. And the resale stuff that is coming on the market is getting just absorbed way faster. So what's sitting out there
Curious,
is very
Anthony,
low.
what typically percentage wise for in the past has new construction versus resale
So
percentages been?
yeah, pre-COVID, it used to be around 40%. And we've seen the number for new construction listings has gone up since then, but it has not gone up substantially enough to make up that 40% to 68%. So really where we've fallen off is really just been most of this change is the resale home market, the vast majority.
I see. Man, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this shapes out going into the rest of the year and coming up next year, So I do know for a fact, just through networking and whatnot, on how, new construction and for our metro is going to be picking up, and especially aiming to hit that those more affordable price points, right? Essentially below 400,000 and even some in that 250 to 350 range. So that's the market kind of shifting, obviously, along with the interest rates and just from a macroeconomic standpoint in order to cater to the market that we're in, right?
Yeah. I mean, and there are still existing homes out there and they're
Yeah.
just being sold very quickly.
Mhm.
And there's not enough new construction that's backfilling and making up for just the demand that we still have, even with rates being so high or relative to what they were last year. Um, yeah, we did see a slowdown, but inventory still hasn't picked up.
Yeah, and that and some of that too we run into in the fact that like in the resale market, some people have locked in a 2.5 to 3.5% interest rate in the last couple of years. What, Ryan, didn't you look up a stat where
I I
for
forget how many percent of the population has a interest rate under 4%, but it's a very high
It was
percentage.
like, I think it was like 98% of housing.
Yeah, yeah, it was something
It was
like that.
something ridiculous. I mean, because most people already own homes, or that are
Right.
of the existing homes, most people have owned them prior to this last, the last 12 months.
I mean, the refi craze during COVID, like so many loan officers were hired just for the refi process, right? And now a lot of those, that's died off, right? So I mean, a lot of people knew about refis back in the day, so a lot of people did get it done, so.
I
yeah.
was on a daily rate email from one of our local lenders, and I was one of 60 people on that email that
Yeah.
was just getting daily updates on what they currently were.
Yeah, so then there's that discussion on resale, right? Like whether you sell and buy something at a higher rate, in today's market. And so we've been having those discussions, and it just has to be what's best for you, right? Sometimes life calls and it is the right move, or it may not be, and you stick it out and see what other solutions there are. Yeah, one of the solutions that a lot of the people that we're working with that we've opened up their eyes to is don't sell the house, keep it. Keep that 2.5, 3.5% house and rent it out. Like you'd be surprised how much cash flow you might be able to maximize on and keeping an asset where a renter could pay off your mortgage for you. And then, you have that excess cash flow too that maybe offsets some of that increase in mortgage payment, right? So multiple solutions to talk about and ultimately let the number, get information so you can make an informative decisions, which is what we love to talk about with our consumers. It's amazing how many times we'll literally tell a consumer like, don't sell your house, right? Keep it. And
or at
so
least or at least look into it and see what those numbers could look
yeah,
like. And it might change, yeah, like with the additional cash flow, it might make that new house affordable with current rates, or it might be the
yeah,
same payment, but now you own two houses
yeah.
for the cost of one.
Or yeah, the fact that you did have a lot of equity increase, over the last handful of years, which you could utilize if you really if you didn't want to manage two properties or own two properties, where you take that equity and you'd be surprised by putting X amount down what how that changes the storyline, right? Or not having PMI, where in fact maybe you did still in your previous house, things of that nature. Or the other solution that's always worth looking at is like, you might have a credit card or a car payments or some other kind of debt that could equate to X dollars per month, right? Yeah, by selling your house and liquidating all that debt and buying the next home, how you position yourself in a positive upside potential on cash flow by looking at all those scenarios. So multiple facets of how you can look at real estate to see what's best for you and ultimately making a decision with information.
Most definitely. All right, that's all we've got for this month. uh any last thoughts, Junior Ryan?
I think I'm curious to see what the summer brings, right? I mean, everyone's getting out of the homes. It's starting to be warm, right? Like we'll see what these next couple months bring. I'm curious to go through the next month's numbers. So
Yeah, no, we just call it what it is. The numbers are the numbers, right? For the real estate market, the language of real estate. We'll continue to post these videos, and then make sure you reach out to Anthony for a free consultation on your listing or any real estate advice you might need for home buying or home selling or home investing. And Ryan and I are here as well to add value in any which form that we can. So a lot of opportunity here for the Des Moines market, as you can tell, for the foreseeable future, if you're in that real estate realm, and we're here to help.
Yep, always here to help, and always our aim is always to empower people with knowledge so that they can make informed decisions. That's just what we're here for.
Awesome, awesome. All right, everybody. We'll see you on the next one. Have a great rest of your May, and we'll be back here in June for May numbers. So these were all the April numbers. All right, I'll talk to you later. See ya.